Hi, I'm Bishakha, and I was mentoring Sofia Santiago this session. She's an 11th grader from Oxford Academy. When we started our mentoring, she was really shy and introverted, and it took a little bit of prompting for me to figure out what area she's interested in. But pretty soon I understood that she's really motivated about helping people, and she's really passionate about medicine and supporting her community, especially underrepresented communities. Over the course of the project, she grew from that shy individual to someone who was really driven and took a lot of leadership during the project, which was based on CPR. And I hope in the course of the presentation, you can see her passion come through.
So now I will be talking about my mentor, Bishakha. So a few things about my mentor, Bishakha, is that she finished her PhD at UT Southwestern, and she is currently working as a neuroscience fellow at the Science Philanthropy Alliance in Palo Alto. She's overall just a very kind person, and she's been an amazing mentor to me. So for my magical experience, it's honestly been way better than I expected. Like going into magic, I thought it was going to be mostly like computer science and like coding, but it's actually something that like helped me narrow down what I like to talk about, and I just feel like really proud of like how my project turned out to be. I've also learned a lot of things through magic and through my project, and especially navigating through like challenges like everything that's happened with the pandemic. I've learned how to take initiative and just hold myself accountable when like I have to like remember to do assignments. So my project is called Implementing CPR in Schools, and it's a combination of conducting a survey for CPR awareness and actually trying to start a training program for the students at my high school. And the reason why I chose this topic was because CPR is something that's really important to me because of like past experiences, and overall just my interest in medicine, specifically with pediatrics, which is something that requires CPR. And I've gotten to learn a lot of things through this topic. And so far I've already conducted my survey, and I've also found a free online training course for like students, available to students. And because of the data that I've gathered from my survey, I know that I have to find a solution for students who are not interested in taking an online course. Okay, so emergencies happen all the time. CPR is an essential for everyone to know. So my project is, like I said, designed to bring awareness to CPR and why it's so important. The first part of my project was to survey the students from my school and just get a general understanding of what they know about CPR. And eventually I want my survey to provide like support for like my proposal of trying to start a training program at my school. And if you look at the right of my slide, you can see there's a map of the United States, and you can see that some states are in red and some states are in gray. The red states represent all of the states that have CPR as a graduation requirement, and all of the gray states represent the states that don't have CPR as a graduation requirement. And surprisingly, California isn't one of those states. So part of the free online training course that I found, it's called Pro Trainings, and they have a lot of like video trainings that they use, and at the very end of their like program, they have like a test to like, just evaluate the skills that the participant like learned throughout the process. And then, so one of those videos is this video right here. It's called The Lay Rescuer. And in this video, you can see the paramedic. He just like evaluates the setting and the situation. He like talks about the steps you should take before actually conducting CPR. And then at the very end, he demonstrates like actual CPR. And at the bottom of every video, they include extra tips and just more like advice about like what you should do before like doing CPR and the actual process of doing CPR. So for my survey, the reason why I chose to do my survey the way I did it was because medicine and the health of the people in my community has always been something that's important to me, especially when it comes to like knowing what to do in an emergency. And for my family and I, we always try to talk about CPR and just emergencies because we always want to stay prepared and we want to prevent future emergencies. The reason why I created my survey was to, like I said, understand like what the students at my school know about CPR and to see if like they'd be interested in having a training program. Overall, I just want my survey and my project to encourage my school to implement a CPR program using the data that I've gathered from my survey. So now I will be talking about my survey and the results that I got. So the first question in my survey was, have you heard of CPR? So this question was just to see if the participants know what CPR is. And thankfully, everyone said yes, with a small group who was more specific and said they would like to know more. The next question in my survey was, do you think CPR is important? This question helps me understand how important they think CPR is. So if you look at the data, you can see that most people ranked it like a 3, 4, or 5, which tells me that most of the participants think that, or all participants think that CPR is important. The next question in my survey was, do you know how to do CPR? This question tells me if a participant has or hasn't had any CPR training before. And you can tell by the data that there's a lot of like a diversity. The next question in my survey was, has there been a time where you wished you knew how to do CPR? So this question was a more personal question. The purpose of this question was to see if my peers or the participants have experienced a time where CPR was needed but wasn't able to be provided. So as you can see, the numbers and the data are pretty evenly split, with a small group who just chose not to answer because, again, it was a more personal question. So the next question says, if you knew how to do CPR, would you perform CPR in the following situations? So this question was supposed to help detect biases based on appearances. And so this just, so as you can see from the data, there's the categories of relative, friend, or acquaintance, and unconscious, or randomly, wait, I can't see it, sorry. It's a lady and a child. So those scenarios were the scenarios that were more likely to happen, or were more likely for like people to choose to conduct CPR. So the next question I have in my survey was, if there were a CPR program at school, would you be interested in participating? This question tells me how many students would like to have a training program at school and just their overall interest, if they're overall interested in participating. And majority of the participants said yes, and only a few people said no. But I think it's great that most people are interested. The next question relates back to the free online training course that I found. And as you can see, the numbers are pretty even. So that is why I have to find a solution for the people who don't want to have to take a free online training course. The next question in my survey is, how do you learn best? Rate 1 through 4, 4 being the best way you learn and 1 being the least effective way. This question tells me which learning method is best for the participants, whether it's auditory, visual, hands-on, or reading and writing. And if you focus on the yellow bar that represents effective and the green bar that represents most effective, you can see that they're more prominent in the visual and in the hands-on categories, which tells me that visual and hands-on are the more effective ways of learning best. The next question says, would you prefer a teacher to guide you through the process? So this question just tells me if the participant would feel more comfortable with someone like a teacher to help guide them through the learning process. And majority of the participants said yes. This is beneficial to the school because most students would like to have someone older, maybe like a teacher, to help them do this, which is something that the school can provide. And so the next question I have, once I scroll down a little bit. So the next question is, are you a teacher, student, or family member? So this question lets me know who the person taking the survey is. And majority of the people who answered were students from my school, and a few of my teachers and staff members from my school also answered. So this just gives me an age range of the participants. And this next question says, what is your race/ethnicity? So this just plays a role in demographics, and majority of the people who answered were Hispanic or Latino, which isn't surprising because majority of the students or the population at my school is, they are Hispanic and Latino. So the next question was, what is your gender? So this was also just it was a part of demographics, and the numbers were pretty split with one person who chose not to answer. So these are the results of my survey. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you guys enjoyed.